Hey everybody, how are you doing today? Hopefully really well. And if not, we'll just know that a lot of love is coming your way. So this past week, actually the past 2 weeks, I was just so exhausted and tired because I spent so much time in the office working on the new Thoughts remake and of course the Sumerian Epic, which is getting very close to a point of completion where we can start posting the sequence, the episodes, and stitching them together into the movie. So that's coming. I'm really excited about it. But there's a theme that really comes about that we kind of observe throughout the whole thing, but we discuss it at the very end. As you go through the ancient Sumerian tablets and the creation stories of the various ancient civilizations and everything like that, you find that it actually begins with a very feminine goddess understanding of it's like Namu. In the original Sumerian tablets, there was this ancient goddess named Namu, who is the supreme primordial creator deity who manifested all things. And they often, interpret her to be that, that primordial cosmic spirit or wave or vast body of potential from which all things can sort of come from. It's like the womb of all things from which everything comes out of, sort of thing, right? But over time, as the story progresses, you actually see the primordial feminine goddess be sort of overtaken and then destroyed, and just the entire story changes from that of a feminine deity to the masculine deity. And you can see how society changed to reflect that, and how for so long, especially, the Abrahamic faiths are particularly, this way is describing God as this masculine thing, and all of our society is based on this really masculism as a thing. And the reason why that's so interesting, and the reason that I'm actually talking about this, is because it's at the very end of and this actually also made its way into the Book of Spirit, because it just seems so relative to the shared conversation between the two, the Sumerian Epic and the Book of Spirit. But the difference between masculism and feminism are so radically different. I mean, it's so subtle, the difference, but the difference is huge. And I wanted to talk about this for a moment because it's something that I think just everybody needs to be aware of. We need to acknowledge it and see it. And I know 100% I'm not the only person talking about this. There's so many people in the world and so many movements now taking place to bring awareness to equality of the sexes and everything like that. But that's actually even that line, equality of the sexes, is the defining piece and why this is so interesting. So let's just look at this very quickly. Masculism, I have it pulled up on a computer here. Let me just read this. Masculism refers to the advocacy of the rights or needs of men and boys, and the adherence to or promotion of attributes regarded of typical men and boys. So it's if you're a boy and you play with dolls, that's not masculine, you know what I mean? But then you switch over to feminism, and it's actually a lot simpler, and this is very interesting. It says, the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of the sexes. And that just speaks so much, it's just volumes. It speaks volumes. It's masculism, men and boys, feminism, equality. So why is it this way? And again, I spoke about this briefly of, just going back into ancient history, of seeing how our fundamental understanding of reality on the basis of the gods and the religions that we followed in the main Western, starting in the Mesopotamia and the Middle East, and kind of trickling, I guess, which way is my map that I'm going, trickling across the world over and through the European, and when they came to this part of the world and the Western world, it was just this way of thinking that was there that didn't ever change. And I think I wanted to speak about too, like how this affects culture and society today. Like just looking into the world, you can see it prevalent everywhere. You can see the way that people, like the way that men think and act and treat women and other men, and it's just so rigid, generally speaking. There's a rigid mindset that comes from an extremely masculine or male energy perspective that limits a person from being able to have empathy towards others and feel what others are feeling. And that's really the value of what femininity or feminine energy brings to the table, which is that it's sensitive, it's intuitive, it's connected, it's aware, it's alert. And I think that's why there's a lot more women who are more connected with each other than there are men who are, you know, it's like, I don't want to say men are not connected to each other. It's just that the way that they connect is generally very different. You know, like women and girls are just a lot more comfortable, I think, talking about a wider, diverse array of things. Whereas men generally, you know, it's like it's sports and hobbies and manly things, you know. And again, I don't want to just generalize everybody, because I think this is rapidly changing in the world as people are aware, becoming more aware of this conversation and becoming aware of that we all have masculine and feminine energy within us. There's actually 4 main archetypes and 4 main roles that we can embody as far as masculine and feminine energy goes. And this is described very well by the tarot. You've got the magician or the wizard, the priestess, the emperor, and the empress. Or you can look at it even through the princess, the prince, the queen, and the king in the royal arcana, which is, it's basically, just to describe it simply, it's the youthful masculine and feminine, and it's the mature masculine and feminine. It's these 4 aspects that we all have within us, that we all experience as we grow, as we learn. And that by like identifying when we're in each space, you know, like there's times when you have to embody, you know, a more fatherly or motherly energy towards someone else, or maybe their young children or other people who are learning, you know, like if someone's learning something that you know more about, you take on that mature, nurturing, guiding role, which is the matured side. But other times you're in the childlike position, you know, and you have to learn, and someone else might be guiding and whatnot. And so there's more room for like creative play, because that's sort of the energy of the child. And so, yeah, we have to be aware that we really all have both of these energies within us. And yeah, maybe some people like lean in one direction or the other, but that doesn't mean we should shut off from one side or the other. And let's see, the last note I have here is just how can we correct it? And I think I've kind of spoken to that a little bit now. It's like really like just having the conversation, thinking about this stuff, being aware, and like just acknowledging too, like if you're a man and you hear this talk and you recognize, you know what, maybe I'm not as sensitive as I could be. That's just an opportunity to open the door of exploration. And you know, we're human, so like go easy on yourself. It's okay to make mistakes, or you know, if there was a moment where you were like, you know what, I really should have been more sensitive there. That's an amazing thought to have, because it identifies the fact that you're paying attention and you can change if you want to. Like, and you probably wouldn't be having that thought if you didn't want to change. So like, that's okay. Like, I can't tell you how many times I have a particular friend of mine who has just told me, just in the years that I've known her, you know, you're kind of a little insensitive to the feminine. And it's funny because she's like hyper super sensitive. It was a really good balance to have those conversations with her, to be like, okay, how can I be more sensitive? And we talk about it. And then there'd be times where she's like, okay, wait, I'm actually being overly sensitive because I'm just all bubbly, and what you're saying is actually very practical and logical and everything like that. And it was a really good balance to just acknowledge and listen to each other and learn from each other. And that's really like that's the bottom line here, is we have to learn to be able to learn from each other, to be able to, what's the quote? It's like, it's the mark of a great mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Let's open to receiving each other. Let's open to listening and taking in what other people have to say, even if we disagree, even if we don't feel like we quite resonate with the words. You'll never really know unless you take it in all the way. And so that's what I want to leave you with today. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it meant something to you in some capacity. Hopefully it helped, and just know that everything that we talk about is really just scratching the surface. Like, there's only so much of a conversation we can put into a video, and that's why we make a lot of them. and let's just keep it going and continue the conversation in the comments, and you can send me messages if you like as well, and Spirit Science page, all the places. Stay tuned, lots of fun stuff on the way. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you again really soon. Bye.